Makeology!
Hey everybody, it's Thomas. You know, explosions are spectacular to see and fun to make. I'm gonna go over with you step by step how I made some of the explosions you saw at the start of this video, all without using computer effects. I'll show you the scene and then break it down frame by frame. I'll also tell you my thinking during the shoot. If you like what you see here, please don't forget to subscribe and like. Thank you. And here we are in Dragon Frame. Let's watch the scene and then I'll break it down for you. This is just the explosion. And now let's look at it step by step. Right from the start, all I use here are cotton balls, one cotton ball, and some Play-Doh. Right from the start, I start the explosion, but Mr. Smith's body hasn't moved yet. The second frame, his body's going to start moving. But what I want you to really notice is his body at the very start for the few frames, it barely moves. Yeah, he's going to start splitting and his arms are going to start going up, but it doesn't really move from the bed yet as the explosion grows. It's just cotton balls. Just cotton balls. See, the body's starting to split, but it hasn't moved really far off the bed yet. And this is so it can build up the acceleration or the inertia of the energy of the explosion. Now here, finally, I start add some drops of blood, and his body is finally starting to shoot off the bed. So it took 4 frames, 1, 2, 3, 4 frames for his body to start shooting. Now here, what I'm going to expect is that since his body is now building, it has built up the energy, is exploding and shooting out, now the movement will get bigger. So there, see the legs here from here to here. From here all the way down to the ground now. And his head from here all the way up to here. And I put a little smear of blood there. That's to kind of hopefully take away your eyes from the mounting putty that was there. And I had to use some just to make sure the head sticks. And I think I used some underneath here to get this angle. And I used more cotton balls. All of these steps, I'm just piling up more cotton balls. And his body has exploded. Now his legs will start to slow down because it shot out here and it's hitting the ground. It's going to feel some friction from the ground, so it'll start slowing down. The hairpiece is still flying. The head should hit the wall and fall. And there's more blood everywhere now. There's more blood, and his legs are starting to slow down. And you can see here the mounting putty. And it happens so fast you don't really notice it. Here's the mounting putty as well. Now his head is going to fall down, but his legs have pretty much stopped moving. I'm starting to take away cotton balls, take away cotton balls, take away cotton balls. And what I like to do here is at the end, when you have a clear view of something, I make the body just do a little movement just to give the viewer something to focus on at the end so they know what happened. And that's it. Oh, and this little piece of blood just falls down at the end. I have it kind of stretch out. You'll notice from here, it starts to stretch, and then small movement, then a big movement there, and it'll just flatten out at the end. Flatten out. This, I just smeared a little just to give it a little effect as well. Let's see that again. So he starts exploding, take away cotton balls, start smearing some of the blood, and the body will stop moving. They'll turn their heads, and at the very end, just for effect, this little drop of blood is going to fall. Boink. That, I figure, well, that's good. It gets the message across. All right, let's move on to the next scene. In this video, Jenny's head explodes. Let's take a look at this one. There we go. And again, I'm just using Play-Doh and some pieces of Lego in this one. So let's look at what happens. Jenny's standing there. One thing I like to do is I use these pieces of Lego because her head's yellow, so I try to find Lego wedges or anything that looks of the same color that's pretty small. But the very first, again, I start the explosion without the body doing anything. Then here, this piece here, just one of those translucent red discs. I love these pieces because, well, they look bloody and they give shape and they give something solid. One thing that I think sells this explosion is that pieces of solid matter fly out, so you can really get the sense that the head has split. kind of gross, but that's what the philosophy behind it is. So then the next one, her hair is starting to come up, and I'm grabbing these pieces, just sticking them to the Play-Doh. So this red piece just happens for a flash, and then I've got pieces of Lego to simulate her head. And here's another translucent piece. Here more just random yellow pieces, and her hair has flown off. Her face is still there, if you notice. That gives me something to stick the Lego to. And this right here is sticking to, I don't know how to get rid of that thing, is sticking to the wall here. This is sticking to the back of her head, and this is just sticking right onto the piece of paper. And there's some blood going on now as well. Next one. This has disappeared, but you'll notice now her head is gone because it's completely taken over by the Play-Doh. And this is against the back of the wall. And this piece is going to fly to here to the back of the wall. And more pieces are just flying off. Now the pieces are starting to find their resting place, and the glop of blood is starting to rest as well. And this, just more blood, just glopping everywhere, and you don't see her head anymore. And at the end, just for added effect, again, I like these little things for the viewer to pay attention to. It's just a little squirt of blood. And that's it. Let's see it again. Explosion starts, there's the flash, pieces are flying off, and the blood settles. Now this blood settling, again, I think really sells it. And all I'm doing is squishing the blood down. You can even see my fingerprints on the Play-Doh, just squishing it down and moving these pieces down of blood down as well. And there's the squirt. Let's see it again. And this goes along with the idea of building up energy. So the energy is building up, and now it's exploding. So not everything has a split. If it went from here to here, then you would miss all of the buildup. So it's got to have the buildup to sell it. And the ending, of course, I think is just as important for the viewer to see what's going on, to give them a second to realize, oh, that's what just happened. Here's one of my early explosion attempts. Here's using the pieces of Lego and Play-Doh. Now, this is from Zombies in a Bank, and he's already been shot up a bunch of times, and now here's the head explosion. He's going to shoot him in the head. And there we go. Now here, I'm going to play this step by step. And here, again, I use the red translucent Lego piece for where the shot happens, and then I just smother the whole thing in blood. The head is still there, so it holds the Play-Doh up, and I put the pieces of Lego that match the same color of the zombie himself. And you'll see this piece flies up here, this piece goes to the back, and this piece disappears but turns into that. Well, actually turns into that. So I really only use 4 pieces, but they all change shape and disappear just to make the eye a little bit more confused on what's going on. Here we go. So I thought this one came out pretty good. You know, the pieces fly, they fly. So one of them has a trajectory that you can follow. The other one, this one disappears, turns into that, and falls there, and falls to the ground. So let's see it again. There's the red translucent, the pieces breaking off, the pieces flying everywhere, and then falling to the ground. Let's see it fast again. If you'd like to learn more about the concept of acceleration, deceleration, and how it can help you improve your stop motion, watch this next video. The concepts here can be applied to everything you do. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.